Hi everybody, I'm so excited to have Lesley Farnham with us today, the chair of the Honoring All Veterans group here in Richfield, to talk a little bit about Veterans Day, which is tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, Lesley.
Thanks for having me, Mayor.
So Lesley, you're the chair of the group here in Richfield, so could you talk a little bit about how the group started here in our community?
Certainly. Before I get started on the specifics of the memorial, I'd like to start even a little more broadly and a little bit more further back. When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner over 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. And those words are true today just as they were then. Throughout our nation's history, American soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardmen have all bravely answered the call to defend our freedom and to aid our friends and our allies and to turn back any aggressors to our nation. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 1 million Americans who have died in service and in battle since the Revolutionary War. There's been over 1.4 million who are wounded as well, and the 18+ million who are living veterans today. So we can still thank them and honor them, and that's part of what our memorial does. So honoring all veterans, no matter alive or deceased, no matter what branch they came from, that is the primary purpose of the Honoring All Veterans Memorial. We're one of the very few memorials around that actually honors the Merchant Marines who were granted veteran status if they served in World War II. So that makes us rather unique. In addition to honoring all veterans, the memorial pays tribute to a very special Richfield veteran, and we have many of them, but probably our most famous is Charles, goes by Chuck Lindbergh, and he was known for the flag raising at Iwo Jima, and so he is our centerpiece in the statue in the center of the memorial. But we really wanted to go above and beyond and honor all of those. The storyboards around the memorial share about the first flag raising at Iwo Jima, and Chuck was very passionate about that first flag raising.
Great, thank you. That is some really exciting context and some that connection to the community of Richfield that we have. Like you said, a lot of people might not really know about the story of Charles and the connection to Richfield, so it's so great that we have him as a centerpiece at the memorial. So could you tell us a little bit more, Lesley, about how the group started here in Richfield?
Certainly can. The memorial's vision began in 2005 when Richfield artist Travis Gorshey presented to the Arts Commission his sketches and his vision for a memorial and a monument in Veterans Park. That was well received, and from there it was presented up to the Park and Rec director, and Jim really liked it at the time, and so then the plan to implement and make this vision become a reality. So a committee of community volunteers like myself was formed to get it started, and we became a nonprofit and started working on the memorial. A big part of that was sitting down and spending time with Chuck Lindbergh, because he was kind of the centerpiece, and having that of him. And so as we met with Chuck and discussed with Chuck about his end, he was very passionate about all veterans being honored, not himself. He was this very humble man, and he wanted it to represent all. And the servicemen that landed on Iwo Jima were from various branches, not just a Marine like himself. So that's where really the vision to become a memorial, more than just a monument to him, and to honor all veterans. Now, the funding for the memorial is done through the engravings that we have, the names that are put on there, through purchases of park benches, and through donations. So a lot of what we do is to spread awareness and to build it on that. So we were out there and pushing to get names and had a wonderful start. And we had the groundbreaking in 2007, and Chuck was there to see that and break ground and start to make it a reality. But slowly and surely, it took several years, and we continued to raise funds. But unfortunately, by the time his statue went up, Chuck had passed. but his wife Vi was there, and the family, to really see that and honor him, and we know that he is proud of it. By 2013, we had gotten some of the initial tablets up and all the cement down and everything's in there, and it looked wonderful, and we had a beautiful ceremony, but we still didn't have our columns up. But the momentum was growing well, and we were very pleased that City Council right here in these chambers voted to do a loan to us to help us complete and finish, to give that first phase a finished look of what you see today if you were to go visit it. And so the pillars were erected, and there are 6, one for each branch. And we've been slowly, every name that goes on, the proceeds from that help bring that debt down. And we're proud to say that we're down. We're right about 200,000. We were well more than that, so we've been bringing it down. So we're always looking for more names to go on and more funding to help us fulfill that mission. And the next phase, our future vision, as we look toward the future, is to add on there. It's only phase 1 right now. The future vision, it will actually look like a teardrop. The cement will come out so that when the planes and such fly over, since we have such traffic here in Richfield being close to the airport, so when they fly over, they will see a teardrop in it as they look down. And that will be our next phase. We know that's a ways out, but we still have goals to work toward that.
Great, thank you so much for that history of the group here in Richfield. So just a little plug for folks, if you have a veteran in your family or in your circle, please consider inscribing their name in our Veterans Memorial and helping pay for the continuation of that memorial and the expansion. So we know tomorrow is Veterans Day. Could you share a little bit more about the event that is happening tomorrow and how residents can participate?
Yes, tomorrow we will be having our annual ceremony in honor of Veterans Day. It is a shorter ceremony for those of you that have come to our Memorial Day because it's a little chillier and a little darker. We will be starting at 5 o'clock at the memorial, and we will read the names of the new honorees that have been on there and pay tribute to all veterans. Masks will be required. We'll keep social distancing and keep everyone safe, but it'll be a short ceremony, and all of the community are invited to come and join us for that event. And again, it's at 5 o'clock at the memorial.
And as we prepare for tomorrow's event and Veterans Day, why is it important to continuing honoring all of our veterans every single year?
Yeah, Veterans Day is a wonderful day to really reflect and pay homage not only to our veterans, but to the service and our allies. So I'll give a little bit of a history of Veterans Day. Veterans Day started with the cessation of fighting during the Great War, what we refer to now as World War I, but they called it the Great War at the time. And on November 11th, at 11 o'clock in the morning, there was a cessation of fighting, of hostilities, and that was an armistice that happened. Now, the signing of Versailles, the Treaty of Versailles, didn't come until June of 1919, so over 100 years ago. But they go back to the Armistice Day of when the fighting stopped, and so that's really what Veterans Day honors. So as we go back, President Wilson, my notes, but President Wilson then the next year in November 11th of 1919 called for the first Armistice Day to honor our veterans, and many states followed suit to kind of pay tribute, and so it kind of became a tradition. And then by 1926, then Congress actually passed a resolution making that Armistice Day November 11th, and that we would fly our flags, and that we would commemorate with thanksgiving and prayer and exercises designed to perpetuate peace through goodwill and mutual understanding between the nations. Because remember, in that First World War, it was several nations that formed the Allies to go against Germany at the time. So it's not only for us, but a day to reflect upon our partnerships and our allies. It was several years later, in May of 1938, that an actual act was passed making November 11th a legal holiday. And the same thing to celebrate our veterans. And and our service, and it was officially called Armistice Day. So that's what the original name of it was. And it was really set aside to honor the veterans of World War I. But we proceeded, time went by, and we had more wars. You know, in 1954, we had World War II. We were in the Korean conflict. And so the service organizations, the veteran service organizations, so the VFW, the Legion, and others like that got together and presented and asked Congress to change the name of it from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. So the 83rd Congress did do that with an act in 1938, and they struck down the word Armistice Day and put in Veterans Day. So now we honor and celebrate all veterans who have served in any war or during any time with that. So that's a little bit of history about the day, and take the day to really thank and remember our service members who fought and have served for us and our allies that have helped defend our freedoms.
Thank you for that history. And lastly, could you share a little bit about the opportunity that residents can contribute to for Give to the Max Day in your organization?
Yes, we're really excited for the Give to the Max Day. This is the first year that the Honoring All Veterans Memorial is doing it. Thanks to Park and Rec Director Amy Merkel. She kind of suggested, we've been a nonprofit for over a decade, but we've never actually taken advantage of this, and it is Give to the Max is right in November near Veterans Day, so it was a logical step to move to. And so we are using those funds to help pay down our debt that we have against the memorial. To another major program that we have as well is Sponsor a Vet. We know that not every individual can afford the full amount to put a name on. And so they're able to apply, there's a process, and ask for additional funds to help cover the cost. And we'll pay up to half of it. So that Sponsor a Vet fund, obviously we need to fundraise and get those funds in there to then be able to give them out. So we'll use some of the donations for that as well. And again, that future vision of growing the memorial into a teardrop. But we're really excited to have that as a way for folks to give back to the memorial and help it build and grow.
Thank you so much for visiting, Lesley, and please join us at the Veterans Day event tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.